Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first story is titled Petition to Stop Using Casts of Characters and Stupid Abbreviations Please. Can we just please write stories with actual names or descriptive words instead of having to struggle through a cast of characters with names like a jumbled alphabet please? So many stories that I can't actually read at all, am I the only one? If friendly coworker is too long to write multiple times, what about John or Peter or Yoda or Lord Awesome Britches instead of FC or whatever? The next story is titled You Want an Appointment with Me? Sure. This happened a few months ago, but the problem had been going on for years. Every other month, I would get a text message from someone asking for a doctor or to make an appointment. I started off immediately informing them they've got the wrong number. Hey, it happens. When it started happening more frequently, I dealt with the minor annoyance by trying to have some fun. Is Dr. Lee available? Me, there's no Dr. Lee here. Only Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong number. It was funny until the volume of messages started increasing and I got annoyed. A quick Google search led me to the clinic's page. Their number was indeed easily mistakable for mine. Theirs ends with 013 and mine with 073. And the font used certainly made it worse. I called the clinic to inform them of this problem and that they needed to do something about it. Change the font, spell the numbers out, or even change their number. I just wanted the messages to stop. The lady just brushed me off and said there was nothing she could do. I asked to speak to someone in charge but was denied. She told me to change my number or just deal with it. So here comes the part where I dealt with it. After an odd month of peace, I received several messages over a week asking to make an appointment. Hi, I would like to make an appointment please. Me, sure. The next available slot is next Friday at 10. Would that work for you? I made very sure never to claim that I represented the clinic. If anyone asked for a specific doctor, I would say there is no such person here, and if they did ask for the clinic I'd inform them they got the wrong number. Basically, I had myself covered and I tried to have everyone's appointment at the same time. When Friday came around, I received several angry replies from those people and a call from the clinic. Messages went generally like this. You're a terrible person. Why would you do this to waste my time? Why did you pretend to be the clinic? Me, I'm sorry ma'am, but I run a PC repair service. Except I don't take appointments via SMS nor is my personal number listed. I was expecting you at 10 but you didn't show. If you looked at your message you never asked if I was the clinic and I never claimed to be. And the call went like this. CL, clinic lady. CL, hi, who is this? Why did you pretend to be us and arranged for all these appointments? Me, I called you months ago letting you know about this but you told me to deal with it. So I set appointments up for them to see me. It's not my fault they showed up at your door. Maybe you should change your phone number. I hang up. Sure, I felt a little bad I made those people travel to the clinic, but I've since stopped receiving messages from random people, and after checking on the clinic's site, they now have an online appointment making system. The next story is titled, Yes, I work there, and there, but not here. A wholesome little story. I actually have a lot of jobs. I think I'm up to 5 at the moment. All 0 hours, flexible and freelance stuff. I've got to jump around a lot if I want to make full-time pay. Most of my jobs involve caring for, or entertain children in some way. There's this one little girl, I'll call her Jane, she's about 6 and lives in my town, has a few younger siblings, and keeps showing up at my various jobs. We don't really know each other, I just recognize her face, and she recognizes mine. Each time she finds me, she gets more and more confused. So during the school holidays our interactions were sort of like, week 1, I painted her brother's face at the fair. Week 2, I helped her sister choose a book at the library event. Week 3, I sold something to her mum at the shop, etc. and so on. I've never interacted with her directly, but I've seen her at least once a week all summer. Each time she clocks me at a different job I can see her little brain trying to figure out why I'm also here. I think I'm starting to scare her a little, like maybe I'm following her or something. No one else in her family seems to notice or remember me. So the town had this big event at the end of summer. I was not working. I was there enjoying some candy floss and chilling out, dressed in jeans and a t-shirt. I'm sitting on the benches and Jane and her family walk past. Her head turns all the way round as she stares at me. I can see her brain freaking out a little bit. Why am I here too? I give her a little wave, she waves back and off she goes. About half an hour later, I'm watching the school kids perform their little show, and I feel a tug on my sleeve. It's little Jane, tears in her eyes. She asks if I can help. This is the first time she's ever spoken to me. But she's lost her mum. And she needs help. So of course I'm going to help her. Having worked with kids, I know the drill. I get the info we need. Mum's name, what she's wearing, I couldn't remember. We find the lost children's stand and get the staff to send out a message for the mum. I assure her that Mummy is looking for her, and we'll wait here till she finds us. She's holding my hand as we wait and she says, "I'm glad you work here too." I didn't have the heart to correct her. The next story is titled, Don't Hold a Meeting in the Soda Aisle. I live in an upper middle class suburb of NYC. Some of the people in my town are a bit entitled. Anyway, on to the story. When I work from home I dress very casually, basically sweats, and I don't bother shaving. I find weekdays to go shopping to be the best as the store is not too crowded. I wanted to get some diet soda for the weekend, and a well-dressed late 20s, early 30s man was on his phone, standing in front of the soda I wanted. I said excuse me and he rolled his eyes and said, "Just because I'm wearing a suit and talking business on the phone doesn't mean I work here." I replied, "I just need to get what you're blocking." He huffed, mumbled something about lazy people who don't have a job to whoever he was speaking to and moved over. Now if that was the end of the story I wouldn't have bothered posting, but of course it's not. I heard him mention a type of case in our local state courthouse. Next town over is the county seat, in the same practice area my wife and I practiced in when we were practicing law. I closed her firm when she passed, just wasn't the same. Our county is small enough so that if you're practicing for a few years, you know most of the lawyers and judges in your area of law. Still a little annoyed from our interaction, I decided to play a bluff. I asked, "Are you talking about type of case in front of Judge X?" Startled, he replied, "Why do you want to know?" My response, "It sounds like the case my wife and I are opposing counsel on in front of Judge X in courtroom 123 next week." Dude turned very white very fast. He was indeed talking about a case that was going to be in front of Judge X next week. Fortunately for him I remembered our case was the following week to let him know that he hadn't just royally messed up, followed with a suggestion he may not want to have those type of conversations where he can be overheard. Moral of the story, don't have a confidential conversation in public and don't underestimate some slob dressed in sweats. The next story is titled, Old Granny Mistakes Me for a Gardener. A few weeks ago I was working the lawn in my new house. I had just moved in with my wife and we were really working hard to make the place homey. I was already finishing up the lawn when I saw an old granny slowly walking towards me. I turned off my lawn trimmer so I could say hello and not have anything fly towards her. When she came up she kindly asked me, "Excuse me, how much do you charge per lawn?" I looked at her a bit confused, but after remembering my attire, I had a hat, some gloves and safety glasses on, and since I was new in the neighborhood I understood that she had mistaken me for a gardener. I looked at her and said, "Hello, how can I help you ma'am?" She kindly told me that she wanted her lawn mowed but she doesn't have much money as she lives alone, and if I was willing to take 20 for the work. I looked at her place and saw that the lawn in question was incredibly out of control, as if it wasn't mowed in months, and since it was a small area I told the kind granny, "Don't worry ma'am, I will take care of it." The deed took me almost 20 minutes to finish mowing and an extra 10 to take the trimmings and clean the surrounding area. After I was done, she came out of her small house with a tall glass of water which I accepted gladly and proceeded to hand me the money. That is when I said, "Don't worry about that ma'am, I am not a gardener, I am actually your new neighbor. I did it because I wanted to, not because of the money." She immediately apologized for the confusion and told me she was ashamed to ask me something like that. I told her to not worry about that and that it was something I did out of the bottom of my heart, and if she needed help with her lawn to please call me again. She began to cry and thank me profoundly and began to tell me her story. Turns out that she was living alone for a while and that her husband died a few months ago and she didn't have anyone to help her as all her children were living in the US. After the tale she thanked me again and we went our separate ways. Now, every time I help her with her lawn she always gives me a bag of fruit from her mango trees or banana trees and a tall glass of water. The next story is titled Karen Tried to Get Me Fired and Landed in Jail with Her Kid. So this happened a couple of years ago and the school staff and police stationed at the school still have a good laugh about it with me every now and then. This story could fit in another sub, but I felt like this one was the best. Now, I work for the state justice system in a diversion program for juveniles. Part of my job requires me to ensure the youths are going to school and not getting into further trouble, so I tend to be at certain schools a lot due to some of the areas I cover being rural counties with normally only one main high school. Often I just meet with the family and youths at the school for convenience for different reasons while being supervised by me. Normal parents of well-behaved kids have often mistaken me for staff, and I found it easier just to direct them to the staff they needed. At this point I never really had a Karen run-in, at least in this situation. In some rural areas the alternative school is still on the main school campus, but has its own small building where the students are basically in a jail-type school. They cannot leave without a staff escort beyond that building, they have their own bus, separate lunch, and cannot be on campus after student school hours for any reason or participate in school events of any kind or they face being arrested for trespassing. Now students can find themselves in here for many reasons and the school will send students to the alternative program for 45 days as an alternative to out-of-school suspensions. Then there are students who are there permanently till they graduate for one reason or another, and finally students who get felony charges in the community are placed here as well due to school board policy through may or may not be a permanent placement. During one of my visits while in the alternative class a fight broke out. Not being school staff I am not authorized to intervene unless I am being directly threatened. So in the CCTV footage of the classroom you can see me standing there calmly, twice taking a step back to avoid being caught in the scuffle and looking completely unfazed. Now to the untrained eye this is how it appears, but the officer who reviewed the footage even noticed that really I was standing in a defensive tactical position. Mainly because this kid was going crazy and was just swinging wildly at anyone that came close to him to help the kid he was attacking and did strike the teacher trying to put a stop to the fight. So once the situation was under control the school and school police officers go through the motions required and of course parents are called. While I start my own reporting requirements for my job and work with the police doing statements, etc. In comes Karen, mother of the student Hulk who just rampaged a fellow classmate and was now detained in the back of police car awaiting EMS to clear him before being transported to jail. Karen demanded to see the footage because she felt her child was being targeted by staff and police and that he wasn't really the instigator but the victim. While watching and seeing that this wasn't the case she changed tactics and decided to target me by blaming the situation escalating the way it did because I didn't step in before or during the incident to stop it. Now as a side note I had my work cell in my possession and was responding to a parent that was running late to see me and I was in the classroom to escort one of my youths to the meeting room as not to take school staff away for other needs on campus. Plus it's just faster if I go get them as I have clearance to do so. This Karen incident occurred in the dean's office, which is where I already was, and was asked to stay for one reason or another by the dean and officer when she came in to watch the footage. Altogether this whole interaction after watch the footage was not even 5 minutes. K equals Karen, M equals me, D equals school dean, O equals school resource officer. Karen suddenly turns her head around at me in a quick exorcist-style head turn and begins rudely yelling at me. K, why are you just standing there and not doing your job? M, excuse M. Karen cut me off. I was honestly caught off guard by her that I didn't really process what she said. K, you're just calmly standing there the whole time and didn't do anything to stop the fight. Why were you even on your phone? If you were paying attention this whole fight probably wouldn't have happened. I want you fired for neglecting your job and not protecting my child. M, ma'am, I don't work for the school. K, yes you do, and you need to be fired. I'm going to report you to the school board. D, she really isn't school staff. Karen quickly responds before Dean could even explain. K, then why was she even in the classroom? Only school staff and police officers can be in there. Oh, listen, she is like me and... Karen cuts him off. Yes, she was crazy enough to cut off a uniformed police officer mid-sentence. K, that's a lie, I've seen her here all the time working and she's obviously not a police officer, so she is school staff. Now directing her rant at me again, you should be fired for laziness and causing this fight. Yes, somehow, her child going Hulk smash on a fellow classmate and destroying school property in the process was now all my fault. While my brain was processing the stupidity that was being uttered at me in the volume and pitch of what sounded like a velociraptor scream, the dean and officer tried to calm and redirect this crazy Karen, saying many more times that I wasn't school staff and trying to explain my role was similar to the police officer in that I am not employed by the school but I do work at the school under the justice system and courts. I tried to tell her as well again that I didn't work for the school and that I wasn't allowed to intervene in this situation. Karen was having none of it, and at that point was like talking to a brick wall in human form. There was a lot of back and forth conversations, velociraptor screams going on that the other police officer came to see what was going on and ensure everyone, mainly his partner, was safe. That's when it happened. K, she works here and should be fired. This is all your fault that my son is being arrested. With this last proclamation, Karen picks the candy jar that was on the dean's desk and throws it at me. Now luckily I have fast reactions, but in the process of protecting my face with my arm, the jar broke and cut me significantly. At least it wasn't my face that got injured. It's weird how crazy people have that uncanny aim when throwing things in anger to hit the face, head. I've never been so smug watching police tackle a crazy person to the ground and handcuff them. Even though I don't work for the school, I am a state employee just like school staff, and battery on a state employee where I live is a felony crime. Karen's screams at this point became just a bunch of nonsense mixed with cursing, to paraphrase it up. She should be the one getting arrested and fired, this is all her fault. She works here. So Karen was loaded into the other police car and off she went with Hulk to jail for booking. In anticipation of a few questions readers might have. Yes, I pressed charges and Karen spent some quality time in prison among other court requirements. Hulk ended up being placed with family in another county I worked, and I got the pleasure of supervising him. Hulk was actually a pretty decent kid, he just had a very bad day and the kid he attacked was part of a gang that had been harassing him and he just finally snapped. Hence me calling him Hulk in this story. He was successful and joined the armed forces and is still doing well in life and staying out of legal trouble at least. My cuts healed and left minimal scarring. I wasn't just smug, I had Scarlett O'Hara level resting B-face smile as they escorted her away and again at her court hearing. The next story is titled, Oh, Is It Because He's Black? So and I went to the big orange home improvement store. We were in the garden section looking for some lawn care products. So is very particular about the lawn and has done a great job researching products to bring life back to our lawn. After some in-depth discussion, he picks out some grass seed and tosses it into the cart. I saw some houseplants over in the distance I wanted to check out, so I leave him there to continue looking and take the cart with me. Now, the houseplants are not far away from the lawn care products. So is still within my line of sight, just not within speaking distance. I'm not even over there for 2 minutes when I look up in response to hearing So and some guy getting loud. I mosey back over and give So a look, asking what's going on. The guy is upset because he saw So help me pick out grass seed but won't help him. So says the obvious, I don't work here, but the guy is having none of it. Guy says he knows So works there, he saw So help me. He then goes on to say that maybe if he was a woman, So would be more interested in helping him. So says, whoa. That's not it at all, I really don't work here. I finally speak up and say, yeah, he doesn't work here, he's my So. We're here shopping together. The guy scoffed and shook his head in disbelief and states that So is an employee. We try to explain it to him again but he refuses to listen and keeps on demanding service from So and a manager. You guys know how this part goes. Finally, something inside me clicks and I look at the guy and ask him, oh, is it because he's black? You believe he is an employee and not my So because he's black? Reddit, I'm pumpkin spice latte white. So is a delicious shade of caramel. The guy was gaping like a fish, turning red, and suddenly dead quiet as the realization washes over him. Publicly calling out someone's racism will do that to you. I then grab SO's hand, hold up my lovely engagement ring to the guy's face and reiterate that we were together, then lay a big kiss on So. Not another word was exchanged while we turned and walked off to the registers hand in hand. The next story is titled, "You Don't Work Here?" Neither do I. It's been 10 years since I last did retail, though I spent a decent chunk of the prior 25 years in it. I'm used to being mistaken for an employee. My reactions generally reflect their actions. Polite request equals polite response and rude equals rude. Hardly anyone I have ever encountered persisted to the "reporting you to supervisor" part. But Monday I was at the Target in the next town over. I hadn't tidied anything while shopping. I tend to fold unfolded shirts out of habit when I am browsing women's clothing. Understandably, people see this and think, employee. I cut them some slack. I was wearing business casual in burgundy slacks, black top and heels, looking absolutely nothing like a Target employee. I'm standing in the feminine hygiene aisle, marveling at all the ways pads and tampons have just exploded in variety over the past few decades and contemplating my various options in a humorous series of texts to my husband. Oblivious to the world around me, as usual. Suddenly my upper arm is grabbed hard and this lady, about my age, 51, says, "I've been trying to get your attention for a while now. Put down your phone and help me. I can't find the cat food." Grabbing me is not allowed, so my response begins with yanking my arm away and saying, "Touch me again and your ass'll be on the ground, got it? I don't work here, go find someone else." She continues to demand my help. I insist I don't work here. She insists I do, and finally I just turn and walk away. And she shouts after me, "I'd expect this from some kid, but you are old enough to know better. I'm going to find your manager." And snap went something in my mind. I whirl around, stalk over to her, wag my finger in her face and demand she go back in the back and get me the larger sized tub of KY jelly. There is none out here and I need it now. I find bringing sex into a conversation makes people pay attention to what I am saying. She looks shocked and appalled as I say, "And where are the Magnum condoms? Go find me those and the KY jelly." She tells me not to play games with her, she knows I work here and she's going to get me fired. And I just grin and say something I've always wanted to, "I know the owner. I'm going to get you and your manager fired if you don't find me my KY jelly." She shouts that she doesn't work here and I look her in the eye and state calmly, "Neither do I," and stare until she looks away and starts heading down the aisle. Not sure what the pharmacy techs thought about two middle-aged ladies, standing in the middle of the feminine hygiene aisle of Target, shouting about KY jelly and threatening to have one another fired from a place neither of them worked, but I hope they found it as entertaining as I did. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.